causing irreparable devastation to South Delta. So I have to speak up, and I know there's others that are with me that are sharing these concerns. I also respectfully
Yes, Mr. Drew?
With that said, I certainly respect, and I've tried to read as much information as I can to acknowledge the work and the efforts that this council has done, its administration and its council, and I know that it's been a vigilant opponent to a lot of these issues. That said, when I review the summary of the concerns that I hear about and that I have and that I've heard you, Mayor Jackson, summarize yourself, and I'll refer to some of those in a very encouraging speech I heard you give a couple years ago, these concerns are not addressed. There are still outstanding concerns, and what my hope is, my question to you this evening, after a bit more of a rationale for it, is are you sharing the concern we all continue to have about the non-compliance of this project in terms of what's most important to a council whose motto is ours to preserve by hand and heart? There's just a complete disconnect that's going on here right now.
Thank you. There is a report, as you know, on tonight's agenda, and council will certainly be discussing it tonight.
So with regards to that report, the original intent here was to speak to a request that we were following up on, the West Coast Environmental Law letter that was sent to us on August 19th by Andrew Gage, where it was made clear, according to his opinion, that this council was well within its right to invoke the dispute resolution mechanism of the covenant, which we understand was received by the administration and subsequently deferred out for another legal opinion to Davis LLP, who turned around with an 11-page letter and a fairly expansive review of all related documents, including the management plan, which basically used verbiage like saying that the Gage letter was simply wrong, which I challenge, which I'm not a lawyer, but we certainly think there's enough of the language in both letters that suggests that this council certainly has actions it can take if it agrees that there are outstanding concerns. It's interesting that that action was taken just prior to even the receipt of this letter that we assumed would be discussed this evening, which was part of the initial intent of my dialogue, was to encourage that. So the part that I take issue with actually is some of the wording within the CAO's report that suggests that, in conclusion, that there are no outstanding concerns. This is the wording that's used specifically in the report, and we take issue with that. That's why we ask whether it is the council's belief that there are indeed outstanding concerns, and I can give examples of those concerns.
Well, I think we're really at the end of our question period. We only have 5 minutes for each person, unfortunately, but certainly this, as I say, will be discussed tonight. Mr. Harvey, very quickly, we're almost going on air.
Your Worship, we really appreciate the involvement of our citizens in helping us determine if there are concerns. I'd just like to emphasize that we said there was no outstanding concerns based upon the 154 table of commitments that have to be achieved, and it's stated at this time. Your Worship, the report also states that if we find there are examples where the table of commitments, the 154, are not being 100% complied with, and this is direction Council has given us, is that we will be back to Council, and if there isn't mitigation that's acceptable both to our staff and the community here, Your Worship, we will take every step in Council's direction to ensure they are. That could be judicial, it could be legal, it could be meeting with ministers, it could be requiring them to apply the requirements of their certificate. So I just want to emphasize, we're not dismissing this. Our staff are working very hard, and we have dedicated staff that their only time, their only project that they're working on is this SFPR. And Your Worship, lastly, the alignment was not Council's preferred choice.
Yes,
Highway 17 was. This was not Council's preferred choice of going through this area.
Thank you.
I understand that, and so my question then is, is the commitment of Council to maintain a leadership role in advocating on our behalf to assure that these outstanding concerns are addressed? There are outstanding concerns, and these are not being addressed, and what we would appreciate with respect to time now is an opportunity to present those in more detail, and whether that's in a council meeting or to some committee, we would just appreciate the opportunity to do so.
And certainly we can look at that and decide what method we should be taking in terms of coming forward. I certainly have an opportunity to make comments and ask questions, but now isn't the time.
Your Worship, very quickly, time is important. If you have some outstanding concerns, please phone my office. We'll arrange for a meeting, And we'll go over all those concerns, our staff can address them, get back to you, and also keep council up to date as far as areas that you asked us to look at. But that is our commitment. Anytime we want to have a meeting, refer items of concern to us, let us work on them with you. And then you can also hear what we're working on, which you might not be aware of.
Thank you.
That's so much more encouraging than hearing a 2-year-old file. That's good. All we're hoping is that the file is still open and that we have the opportunity to continue to address these.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
If we could get your, I haven't got your telephone number or address, so perhaps you could leave that with our clerk tomorrow morning, or Mr. Harvey, or my office, or whatever, so that we can arrange to have you come forward.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming forward, sir. Thank you.